oh my God, why would he do that? It's not gonna sound good when I say it, but I'm gonna clean it up.
Right.
Tell the people a little bit about this show.
It's my number one favorite movie of all time, A Soldier's Story. So I'm
Yeah.
just excited to be able to do
I
it.
was gonna say you definitely are excited because you started answering questions. I didn't even ask you nothing yet. You, Isiah Anderson, are widely known as the teen summer musical director. These big musical theater productions that involve princesses and princes and fairies and animals that ease on down the road and all of that fun musical light stuff. A Soldier's Play is anything but that. So tell us, why did you pick Soldier's Play at this time?
You're right. I'm known for the teen summer musical, but when we're not easing on down the road, we are lifing it, and we get to address some major issues in our community, and we get to do that here on this small stage.
How many times have you watched A Soldier's Story?
I don't know. Easily 100 times. I mean, like, it'll come on, and if it's 15 minutes till it's done, I'm watching it. My dream was not just to do it, but to be in it. I wanted to be in it.
So tell us about the story.
I'm at a time when we thought we would be working together. You had individuals who were ranked high in the military and took advantage of it. And they took advantage of it in a number of ways. They took advantage of it in I can continually make myself look good. And then they flipped it and they said, I am going to determine who represents us. So those of who don't make us look good.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something about that. And unfortunately, we still live in that time. There are individuals who are in position, and instead of using that position to uplift all, they want to determine who will represent us as a people.
A lot of people now say we've had enough storytelling about Black struggle, and they just want shows about Black joy or Black brilliance and that kind of thing. What would you say to that in terms of why this story is still important?
The pain, if you will, is a part of my joy. And so until I can recognize where something is dark in my life, I don't have the ability to shed light on it at all.
There are these incredible moments of Black joy, like watching the men bond over a brotherhood and over a hope and over an expectation. Like, there's definitely moments in this show where everything that I love about Blackness and Black men and our rhythm and our melanin, there's times in this show where I'm like, I love being Black so much. What do you say to that? Like, inside the struggle, there is this joy.
Right. And again, another reason for people to come see, whenever there's been a struggle, we've always found a way to add joy to that and laughter to that and hope to that. And so this story is no different.
There is a precision to the movement of this show. I would say, like, almost unlike any show I've seen you direct. Talk a little bit about why that precision, that cadence, if you will, was so important to you in this show.
This show has a lot of flashbacks. And so to create that, the movement is I say it's almost like choreography, but it is. It's choreographed. So on stage, the men have to move at a certain time, some together, some individually. And so as a dancer at heart, I love to choreograph. And so to do it in the manner of directing is a great feeling. I wish I could say initially I knew this is how I was going to have to direct it. But I didn't. I came into this.
Really?
I'll direct it like I've been directing. And then all of a sudden I realized, no, I'm going to have to do some choreography.
Well, yeah, because somebody came into the scene in South Park recently and they saw the poster on the wall. I know I had to get that in. They saw the poster on the wall and they said, isn't Acts on Stage that small theater in White Center? And I said, yeah. They said, you're going to have 12 people in a show at Acts on Stage? And I was like, yeah. I was like, the director is really maneuvering them in a way that is just like poetry.
Yeah.
And it's been a beautiful thing to see just in rehearsal. And like, we're inching up on opening night, and I can't imagine, I mean, I can only imagine how much better that poetry will get over the next few days.
Yeah, yeah, and it feels good. And so we have 12 men, and I would say 8 out of the 12 probably had little to no theater experience.
Back in the day when people wanted to learn how to do something, let's say in church, the way you do it is you get in the choir, and then the choir
Yes.
director, teaches you how to sing in the midst of doing that work. When people come and be in an Act on Stage show, no matter where they are on the spectrum or on the range of experience, being in that show, they are really getting direct acting experience in that way. And real talk, most of the time, people can't tell which people were, the skilled with the degrees and which ones this was their first show. Most of the time, people cannot tell because that's how intense the process is.
And so that I get to do that and watch these light bulbs pop on every rehearsal from all of them.
Yeah.
Those with the experience who go, wait a minute, so this is the first time I've been a part of a process like this.
So, confession, I guess. This is the first time, honestly, I had no voice in casting. And so when you sent me the casting list, when you sent me the casting list, I was like, because I knew half of the people that you had cast, and I got to be honest, and I'm gonna say this, and it's not gonna sound good when I say it, but I'm gonna clean it up.
Right.
When I saw casting, and I saw particularly who you cast as Sergeant Waters, who is core to this story. This story does not get told without Sergeant Waters. And I was like, oh my God, why would he do that? Talk a little bit about who you cast as Sergeant Waters. And I let me just say right now, because I know he's going to watch this, he's perfect. He is perfect, but I didn't think so. Yeah. Say a little bit about that casting.
I will. I casted my brother, Earl Williams Sr. as Sergeant Waters. Growing up with this cat, knowing his background, knowing how he perceives things in life, I knew he could pull off the character. I didn't know how well he would adapt to my directing him in trying to become that character. And you're right, he's perfect, and more perfect than I knew.
He's definitely resourcing this character from a personal place. Like, he's finding information about this character from a place that you wouldn't get in acting school. And I mean, the audience is going to love and hate him. They're going to be confused about whether they love or hate him at the same time. He's doing an amazing job. We purposely wedged this show in between Veterans Day and Pearl Harbor Day, for sentimental value and sentimental reason. Say a little bit more about how this story is different from, one, just a military story, and two, different because it's a Black experience.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot, in school about Black men who enlisted and or were drafted and then coming out. In school, they didn't share with you how disrespected they were when they got out. And so this story gets to tell some sides of what was, everybody that came in didn't come in under the same circumstances.
Right.
They weren't there for the same reason. And I just don't think we heard or we hear enough about that. So we're inviting all veterans male, female, black, white, and other. Um, but we want to hear the stories. We want to, have those black veterans share what those experiences were like.
What is your just favorite part of directing this work right now? Like what I've known you a lot of years, brother. I've known you a lot. I've seen you direct dozens of shows. I've seen you put together half a dozen sets. But there is something about this show where you are literally running to this theater, getting ready for rehearsal. What is it? Why? What is it? What is it about this show that just has you like this is a playground for you?
I feel like culturally, we have this cycle of how we treat each other. We have this cycle of how we appreciate one another or the lack thereof. There's just this cycle that I want to be a part of us saying, can we stop that part? And this story talks about that, because if we continue, like in the story, what happens is doom.
Yeah, let's go personal. You are one of the few Black male directors in the city of Seattle, theater directors in the city of Seattle. You don't have a degree. You did not go to school for this. And yet, you probably have one of the longest careers of theater direction in the city of Seattle. One of the longest and even most celebrated. How does this story reflect that for you in terms of who told you you could do what you do, Isiah? Who gave you permission to be able to excel at something that technically you don't have the right to excel at? Who told you you could do that?
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna try to hold it together. That was something that was hard for me at one time when I would be in rooms and I would be what I would consider the less educated in the room. My mother used to say to me, the only thing that's holding you back is you. God placed people in my path. Steve Sneed told me, Rico Bembry told me, and Felicia Loud, and Shauna Lang, and Darcel Hubbard, and Danae Simone, and like Pastor Jeffrey, Charles Humphreys, and the Pat Warburgs, who pushed me into the light when I was just saying, no, just let me stay back here, I'm good. And you said, who told me? Michelle Lang Raymond told me. So many people told me, yes, you can. That at some point I had to believe what other people were saying, because they weren't saying it because I hadn't done it. They were saying it because they've seen it.
Tell people how they should come see this show.
You can come see this show by logging on to actsonstage.com and get your tickets right now. Now listen, we're a small seated theater, about 120. Don't let that be the reason you go, oh, well, I'll wait. Don't wait. We'll sell out all 10 shows, November 14th through the 24th, here, Thursday through Sunday. Get tickets right now. You can come with a group. You get a discount if you come with a group, 10 or more. I'm telling you, it is going to be worth it. Acts on Stage, A Soldier's Play, November 14th through the 24th.
We'll see you there.